This is the Space Shuttle Endeavour. It's open to the elements now because they're going to disassemble this structure. This is like Geek Central. It was amazing.
Think your last move was stressful? Try towing a 1,700-foot oil platform across the ocean, or hauling a Tample from stranded whales to colossal space shuttles. Humanity has pulled off some jaw-dropping feats of transportation.
6, 4,
The last time NASA's Endeavour space shuttle was in launch position,
and liftoff for the final launch of Endeavour.
These jaw-dropping moves required ingenuity, muscle, and nerves of steel. Curious how they pulled it off? Buckle up as we dive into the mind-blowing stories of the 5 largest things ever moved. Number 1. Troll-A platform. Imagine standing next to a structure taller than the Eiffel Tower, weighing over 1 million tons, and towering over the ocean like a modern-day colossus. Now, imagine towing that massive structure across the ocean for over 120 miles. This is the story of the Troll-A platform, a feat so incredible that it stands as one of humanity's greatest engineering achievements. Built to extract natural gas from one of the largest reserves in the North Sea, the Troll-A platform isn't just an oil rig. It's a towering symbol of human ingenuity. The Troll-A platform is an offshore natural gas rig located in the North Sea. At a staggering 1,549 feet tall, it is the tallest structure ever moved by humans. To put its size into perspective, it's taller than the Empire State Building or the Eiffel Tower, making its seat one of the most mind-blowing man-made structures in the world. What makes the Troll an even more astonishing is that most of its height is underwater. Its 4 massive legs plunge nearly 1,000 feet down to the seabed, anchoring it securely to the ocean floor. This engineering giant is a key part of Norway's energy infrastructure, helping to extract natural gas from the Troll gas field, one of the largest natural gas reserves on Earth. But before it could pump out energy to power millions of homes, the Troll-A platform had to be built and moved. The Troll-A platform was constructed in Norway, near the village of Vats, in a specially designed dry dock. Its construction was nothing short of extraordinary. The 4 legs, made of reinforced concrete, were designed to withstand the crushing pressure of the deep sea while holding up the massive steel platform above. These legs weren't just hollow cylinders. They were carefully engineered to support the platform's enormous weight and withstand the harsh weather conditions of the North Sea. Once the legs were built, they were flooded with water to make them sink almost entirely underwater. This ensured that the legs were stable, while the upper platform was floated into position above them. Engineers then pumped the water out of the legs, causing them to rise and lift the platform to its full height. By May 1995, this technological masterpiece was fully assembled and ready for the next phase, its epic journey to the Troll gas field. Moving the Troll-A platform was no small feat. Weighing a mind-blowing 1.2 million tons, it is one of the heaviest objects ever moved. To transport it to its final destination in the North Sea, engineers relied on 10 massive tugboats, which together generated over 130,000 horsepower. But even with all that power, the platform could only travel at a snail's pace of 2 miles per hour. The journey took a grueling 7 days to complete. The tugboats had to fight against ocean currents, waves, and weather, while ensuring that the platform remained perfectly balanced. Any mistake during this operation could have led to disaster. Engineers carefully monitored every inch of the journey, ensuring the platform remained stable and on track. Finally, after a week of slow but steady progress, the Troll-A platform arrived at its destination, 120 miles away from its starting point. Once the Troll-A platform reached the Troll gas field, the next challenge was securing it to the ocean floor. This wasn't as simple as dropping an anchor. It involved some of the most advanced engineering techniques ever used. The legs of the platform were equipped with suction anchors, which created a permanent vacuum seal with the seabed. These anchors ensured that the platform would remain stable, even during violent storms or powerful ocean currents. After the legs were anchored, engineers pumped water into them once more, causing the structure to sink and rest securely on the ocean floor. This final step completed what was, at the time, the largest offshore construction project in history. The Troll, a platform, isn't just a marvel of engineering. It's a testament to what humanity can achieve when faced with seemingly insurmountable challenges. At 1,549 feet, it holds the record for the tallest structure ever transported by humans. Weighing 1.2 million tons, the Troll A platform is one of the heaviest objects ever relocated. It plays a vital role in Norway's energy industry, extracting natural gas that powers homes and businesses across Europe. Number 2. Space Shuttle Endeavour. When you think of space shuttles, the first thing that probably comes to mind is a rocket blasting through the sky, heading to orbit at speeds of over 17,000 miles per hour. But what happens to these incredible machines when their missions are done? For the Space Shuttle Endeavour, its final journey wasn't one of fiery liftoff and weightlessness. It was a slow and steady 12-mile road trip through the streets of Los Angeles. This epic move was one of the most impressive transportation feats in history, proving that even on Earth, space shuttles can still make headlines. The Space Shuttle Endeavour was one of NASA's most iconic spacecrafts, built to replace the Challenger shuttle after its tragic explosion in 1986. From its first launch in 1992 to its retirement in 2011, Endeavour completed 25 missions, including trips to the International Space Station, ISS, and the Hubble Space Telescope. In total, it spent 299 days in space, circling the Earth nearly 4,700 times, and traveling over 122 million miles. But when Endeavour's time as an active spacecraft came to an end, NASA wanted to give it a new home where it could inspire future generations. The chosen destination, the California Science Center in Los Angeles, where the shuttle would become a permanent exhibit. However, getting an 86-ton, 122-foot-long, 78-foot-wide spacecraft through the busy streets of one of the largest cities in the US was no small task. You might be wondering, why not just fly Endeavour to its new home? After all, it's a space shuttle. While that worked for part of the journey, Endeavour was flown from Florida to Los Angeles on the back of a Boeing 747. The shuttle was too large and heavy to be flown directly to the museum. Helicopters couldn't lift it, and breaking it into smaller pieces would have caused permanent damage to the spacecraft. So the only option left was to transport it on the ground through the heart of Los Angeles. Moving the Endeavour was no simple put-it-on-a-truck-and-go operation. The entire project cost a staggering $10 million, and it required more than a year of planning. The shuttle's massive size made it impossible to fit through many streets, so experts had to carefully map out a route that avoided narrow roads, low bridges, and tight intersections. Eventually, they settled on a 12-mile path from Los Angeles International Airport, LAX, to the California Science Center. But there was one big problem. Even with the carefully chosen route, the Endeavour was still too large to fit in some areas. To make room for the shuttle's 78-foot wingspan, 400 trees had to be removed along the streets of Los Angeles. This decision sparked some controversy, but the city promised to plant 1,000 new trees to make up for the loss. The Endeavour's journey began on October 11, 2012, when the shuttle was loaded onto a specialized transportation vehicle called a Self-Propelled Modular Transporter, SPMT. This wasn't your average truck. It was a high-tech, multi-axle vehicle controlled by computers, designed to carry extremely heavy loads with precision. The SPMT allowed engineers to maneuver the shuttle through tight spaces, make sharp turns, and keep it stable during the move. The actual road trip was nothing short of a spectacle. Thousands of people lined the streets to catch a glimpse of the massive spacecraft as it rolled through the city at a leisurely pace of 2 miles per hour. The journey took 2 full days, with Endeavour stopping frequently for adjustments and careful navigation. One of the most challenging parts of the trip was crossing the 405 freeway, one of the busiest highways in the world. To make this happen, workers had to temporarily shut down sections of the road and take extra precautions to ensure the shuttle didn't damage any infrastructure. Another major obstacle was the tight turns in residential neighborhoods. At one point, the shuttle came within inches of houses and buildings, requiring expert precision from the SPMT operators. Crowds cheered as the massive spacecraft slowly crawled past their homes, making an unforgettable memory for everyone watching. The Endeavour's final journey wasn't just about moving a piece of hardware, it was a celebration of human achievement. The shuttle represented decades of scientific exploration, innovation, and teamwork. By bringing it to the California Science Center, NASA ensured that millions of visitors, especially children, would have the chance to see the spacecraft up close and learn about the wonders of space exploration. The entire operation cost $10 million, funded by donations and the California Science Center. The shuttle traveled at just 2 miles per hour, slower than most people walk. Over 1.5 million people came out to watch the move. In some areas, there were just inches of clearance between the shuttle's wings and nearby structures. For the 400 trees removed, the city planted 1,000 new ones as part of a reforestation effort. On October 14, 2012, after 2 days of careful maneuvering, Endeavour finally arrived at the California Science Center. It was placed in a specially designed hangar where visitors could marvel at its size and learn about its incredible history. Today, it remains one of the museum's most popular exhibits, inspiring people of all ages to dream big and reach for the stars. Number 3. JJ the Whale. In January 1997, the story of JJ the Whale, a stranded gray whale calf found on the coast of Southern California, captured the hearts of millions. At just a week old, JJ was discovered weak, malnourished, and separated from her mother. Her story wasn't just about survival. It was about how human ingenuity, compassion, and teamwork came together to save this remarkable creature. From her rescue to her rehabilitation, and finally, her dramatic release back into the ocean, JJ's journey remains one of the most extraordinary animal rescue efforts ever undertaken. JJ was found stranded near Marina del Rey, California, weighing just 1,770 pounds and measuring 14 feet long. Small for a gray whale calf, she was severely underweight and showed no signs of her mother nearby. Without intervention, JJ wouldn't survive, so a rescue team was quickly assembled to save the newborn whale. She was carefully loaded onto a 24-ton truck and transported 140 miles to SeaWorld San Diego, one of the few facilities equipped to handle such a large and complex animal. Caring for a gray whale calf like JJ was a monumental task. Gray whales are known for their massive size, and even as a baby, JJ required a huge amount of care. At SeaWorld, marine biologists and veterinarians worked tirelessly to nurse her back to health. She was placed in a specially designed pool, where she could swim freely while being monitored around the clock. One of the biggest challenges was figuring out what to feed her. In the wild, gray whale calves rely on their mother's milk, but JJ was orphaned. The team developed a substitute formula made up of cream, fish oil, and powdered milk, which mimicked the nutritional content of whale milk. JJ was fed through a tube until she was strong enough to eat on her own. Over the next year, JJ's recovery was nothing short of miraculous. She grew rapidly, gaining 9 tons of weight and reaching a length of 30 feet, the size of a school bus. But her growing size also posed a problem. She wouldn't fit in SeaWorld's facilities for much longer. The team knew it was time to prepare JJ for her ultimate journey, returning her to the wild. The release of JJ was always the goal, but it was far from simple. Releasing a 30-foot, 19,000-pound whale back into the ocean required meticulous planning, advanced equipment, and a lot of teamwork. The first step was ensuring JJ was ready for life in the wild. During her rehabilitation, the team worked to minimize human interaction as much as possible, teaching her to hunt for food on her own and preparing her for life in the ocean. Once JJ was deemed ready, the logistics of transporting her from SeaWorld to the Pacific Ocean became the next challenge. How do you safely move a whale that weighs as much as a bus? The solution involved a custom-made sling, a 40-foot water-filled foam-padded trailer, and a 180-foot buoy tender vessel called the USCGC Conifer. On the day of her release, JJ was carefully lifted out of her tank using a crane and placed into the specially prepared trailer. The foam padding and water-filled interior were designed to keep JJ safe and comfortable during her short trip to the harbor. From there, she was transferred to the buoy tender vessel, which would take her out to the open ocean. The vessel sailed several miles offshore, away from busy ports and shipping lanes, to ensure JJ could safely re-enter her natural habitat. Once the team reached the release site, JJ was gently lowered into the water using her custom sling. As soon as she touched the ocean, JJ took a deep breath and swam away, diving into the depths and disappearing from sight. It was a bittersweet moment for the team that had cared for her so lovingly, but it was also a triumphant one. They had achieved what many thought was impossible. After JJ's release, she was fitted with a tracking tag that allowed researchers to monitor her movements. She was observed swimming strongly and adapting well to her new environment. However, as a wild animal, JJ eventually ventured beyond the range of her tracking device, and her exact whereabouts remain unknown. While some feared she might struggle to survive on her own, others believed that her incredible growth and strength during rehabilitation gave her a good chance at thriving in the wild. Her successful rehabilitation and release showed what can be achieved when people come together to protect wildlife. JJ also brought attention to the plight of gray whales, which face numerous threats, including habitat loss, ship strikes, and entanglement in fishing gear. Importantly, JJ became an ambassador for her species, inspiring millions of people around the world to care more deeply about marine life. Her story highlighted the importance of conservation efforts and the role humans can play in helping animals in need. Number 4. Bullwinkle Oil Platform. When it comes to jaw-dropping feats of engineering, few things can compare to the Bullwinkle Oil Platform. Standing at an astounding 1,736 feet tall, this massive oil platform is taller than the Empire State Building and weighs a staggering 50,000 tons. To this day, it remains one of the tallest structures ever built by humans, and the fact that it was transported 380 miles across the Gulf of Mexico makes it even more extraordinary. The story of the Bullwinkle Oil Platform is one of ambition, innovation, and sheer determination. From its construction in Texas to its journey to the ocean floor, this engineering marvel proves that no challenge is too big or too heavy for human ingenuity. The Bullwinkle Oil Platform is a massive offshore oil rig located in the Gulf of Mexico. It was built to extract oil and gas from deep beneath the seabed, and its towering height was necessary to anchor it securely in over 1,300 feet of water. The platform is made up of two main parts: the jacket, a steel framework that sits below the water, and the top sides, which house the drilling equipment and living quarters for workers. What sets Bullwinkle apart from most other oil platforms is its enormous size. At a total length of over 700 feet, with 380 feet above water and 1,353 feet below, it's one of the largest oil platforms in the world. But building it was only half the battle. Getting it to its destination in the Gulf of Mexico was a challenge like no other. The construction of the Bullwinkle Oil Platform began in 1985 in Texas, where its steel jacket, the underwater framework, was built. The jacket alone weighed 50,000 tons, which is roughly 7 times the weight of the Eiffel Tower. The topsides, which included all the operational and living areas, were built separately and would later be added to the structure once it reached its destination. The construction process took 4 years, requiring thousands of workers and a mind-boggling amount of steel and engineering expertise. By 1989, the Bullwinkle jacket was complete, and the next phase of the operation began, transporting the colossal structure over 390 miles to its final location in the Gulf of Mexico. Transporting something as massive as the Bullwinkle Oil Platform was no ordinary task. The solution? A custom-built barge stretching 853 feet long was designed specifically to carry the jacket. This barge was one of the largest ever constructed, capable of supporting the immense weight of the steel framework. 4 powerful tugboats were then tasked with towing the barge and the Bullwinkle jacket out to sea. The operation required meticulous planning and coordination, as the barge had to travel at a slow and steady speed of just 2 miles per hour. Moving too quickly could destabilize the platform, and even the slightest miscalculation could have caused disaster. The journey took several days, with the tugboats pulling the platform through the open ocean. Engineers monitored the operation 24/7, ensuring the platform remained stable and on course. Despite the challenges, the team successfully navigated the 380-mile journey, bringing the Bullwinkle Oil Platform to its designated location in the Gulf of Mexico. Once the Bullwinkle jacket arrived at its destination, the next challenge was placing it on the ocean floor. This process, known as launching, involved sliding the platform off the barge and sinking it into position. Workers climbed onto the semi-submerged structure and activated its hydraulic flood system, which filled the hollow legs with water to make it sink. The jacket slowly descended 1,053 feet to the seabed, where it was anchored securely in place. This required precise engineering to ensure the platform settled evenly and wouldn't tilt or shift due to underwater currents. Once the structure was stable, additional components were added, including the topsides, which were lifted into place using cranes. The entire operation was a massive success, and Bullwinkle has been standing tall in the Gulf of Mexico ever since, extracting oil and gas from deep beneath the ocean floor. The Bullwinkle Oil Platform isn't just impressive because of its size, it's also a testament to what humans can achieve with cutting-edge technology and teamwork. At 1,136 feet, the Bullwinkle Oil Platform is one of the tallest structures ever built, taller than most skyscrapers. The jacket alone weighs 50,000 tons, making it one of the heaviest structures ever moved across the ocean. Its steel jacket was specifically engineered to withstand the harsh conditions of the Gulf of Mexico, including strong currents and hurricanes. The platform has been a critical part of oil and gas production in the Gulf of Mexico, generating millions of dollars in revenue each year. Today, the Bullwinkle oil platform remains a symbol of human ingenuity and determination. It continues to operate in the Gulf of Mexico, pumping oil and gas to meet the world's energy needs. But beyond its practical purpose, Bullwinkle represents something even greater: the ability of humans to overcome seemingly impossible challenges. Number 5. Abu Simbel Temples. What do you do when one of the world's most iconic ancient monuments is about to be swallowed by water? You move it, of course. The story of the Abu Simbel Temples is one of the greatest relocation projects ever undertaken. These massive temples, carved into a mountainside in 13th century BC, stood strong for over 3,000 years before they faced a modern threat: the construction of the Aswan High Dam in Egypt in the 1960s. Without intervention, the temples would have been submerged under the rising waters of Lake Nasser, a reservoir created by the dam. What followed was a daring rescue mission involving cutting, lifting, and relocating an entire mountain of history. The relocation of the Abu Simbel temples remains one of the most impressive engineering feats in human history. Let's dive into the incredible story of how this ancient wonder was saved. The Abu Simbel temples were built during the reign of Pharaoh Ramses II, one of Egypt's most powerful and celebrated rulers. Located in southern Egypt, near the border with Sudan, the site consists of 2 temples: the Great Temple, dedicated to Ramses II and the gods Ra, Amun, and Ptah, and the small temple dedicated to Ramses' favorite wife, Queen Nefertari. The temples are known for their colossal statues of Ramses II, which tower at 66 feet tall, seated at the entrance of the Great Temple. The interiors are equally stunning, with intricate carvings and murals depicting Ramses' military victories, religious devotion, and divine power. The temples weren't just monuments, they were a statement of Ramses' might and a way to impress Egypt's southern neighbors and discourage potential invaders. For thousands of years, the temples stood as a testament to ancient Egyptian ingenuity. But by the 20th century, the rise of modern infrastructure threatened their survival. In the 1960s, the Egyptian government began construction of the Aswan High Dam, a massive project designed to control flooding, generate hydroelectric power, and improve irrigation. While the dam promised economic and agricultural benefits, it also came with a heavy cost. The rising waters of Lake Nasser, the reservoir created by the dam, would flood the surrounding area, including the Abu Simbel temples. Recognizing the cultural and historical value of the temples, the Egyptian government and UNESCO launched a campaign to save Abu Simbel and other endangered monuments. The solution? Move the temples to higher ground, a plan that had never been attempted on this scale before. Relocating the Abu Simbel temples was a monumental challenge. The temples weren't just large, they were carved directly into the rock face of a mountain. Moving them intact was impossible. After much debate, engineers and archaeologists decided to cut the temples into pieces and reassemble them at a new site, 210 feet higher and 650 feet farther inland from their original location. The process began in 1964 and required a massive international effort. Specialists from around the world, including engineers, archaeologists, and construction workers, came together to ensure the temples were preserved. Using specialized marble cutting tools engineers carefully divided the temples into more than 1,000 blocks. These blocks weighed anywhere from 20 to 30 tons each, making them heavy but small enough to be transported. Once the blocks were cut, they were carefully lifted by cranes and placed onto trucks. The trucks carried the pieces to a storage area near the new site. At the new site, workers began the painstaking process of reassembling the temples. Each block was put back in its original position with incredible precision, ensuring the temples looked as they did before the move. To maintain the original aesthetic, engineers built an artificial hill around the relocated temples, mimicking the natural cliff face they were originally carved into. The entire project took 4 years to complete, finishing in 1968. When it was done, the Abu Simbel temples stood once again, looking as majestic as ever, only now they were safe from the waters of Lake Nasser. The relocation of the Abu Simbel temples wasn't just a feat of engineering, it was a triumph of international cooperation and cultural preservation. Moving 1,000-plus blocks, each weighing tens of tons, was an enormous logistical challenge. It required cutting-edge technology and thousands of workers. The temples were reassembled with such accuracy that it's almost impossible to tell they were moved. Even the alignment of the Great Temple with the sun, a key feature of its design, was preserved. The project set a precedent for saving historical sites threatened by modern development. It also raised awareness about the importance of preserving cultural heritage. The relocation was funded and supported by dozens of countries, showing what can be achieved when the world comes together for a common cause. Today, the Abu Simbel temples remain one of Egypt's most popular tourist attractions, drawing visitors from around the world. Their relocation is a reminder of the lengths humanity will go to preserve its history and culture. The temples also stand as a testament to the brilliance of ancient Egyptian engineering and the determination of modern engineers to protect it. Thanks for watching another episode. While you are still here, make sure to click the video on your screen for more quality content.